Later in the US, I'm very afraid that I may need to leave again because I'm not stopping to speak out. Yes, thank you. Yes. Let me just, thank you. Let me just take a very quick moment to provide a snapshot of East and West Germany. In 1948, it was divided into two very different zones. East Germany was the Russian-occupied zone. It was the agrarian part of Germany, and the Russian basically removed most of our industry. Our speech and voting rights were tightly controlled by the Russians. The other zone, West Germany, was occupied by the British, French, and Americans. Here, free speech and voting rights were honored. And the Marshall Plan, similar to USAID, an American initiative, provided very necessary foreign aid and food, which was this was shortly after World War II. We had no food. I lived in East Germany. Now let me fast forward you to 10 years later in 1958, where the climate of the political landscape focused on loyalism, much like what we are seeing here today in our administration. At the time, I was in high school. I had wonderful friends at school, and my family it was fun. I just had finished my 9th grade in 1958 and was excited to begin the summer. But the reality was that as an East German teenager of high school age, it was required to volunteer physical labor to the worker state. So the summer before my 10th grade, some of us decided to work at the brick-making factory that was located 3 miles out of town. When I arrived, a party loyalist, Mr. Rotzelov, I still remember his name, was in charge of us. I knew Mr. Rotzelov because our family used to live in a rental apartment on the property of the brick-making company. At that time, Mr. Rotzelov operated a little lemonade stand. It did not take long for us children to realize he was not very bright. And we sometimes got 2 lemonades instead of 1. In 1958, as teenagers, we were assigned to hard labor pushing metal lorries of wet clay up a steep ramp and then dumping the wet clay out of the lorries. It was back-breaking work. I saw a motor at the end of the ramp and asked him why it was not used. He told me it's not working. Next morning, I went straight to the people in the office as my dad had once worked there, and I complained. The following day, we were assigned much easier work. Like any industrious teenager, I was always looking for ways to make some pocket money. So, since I had been writing small articles for the local paper, I decided to write one about our unfortunate lorry experience. So after my article was published, Mr. Rotzelov published a rebuttal to my article in our paper, calling me an enemy of the socialist state. He claimed that since the state paid for our schooling, I no longer deserved that privilege. After summer vacation, my family and I decided to ignore Mr. Rotzelov's article. You see, I'm repeating his name quite often. And I arrived at school to start my 10th grade. The principal promptly pulled me into his office to inform me that I could not attend school any longer, ever. Yeah. So my mother decided that I should leave East Germany. Friends of my parents had decided to flee East Germany, and I went with them. The wall had not been built at that time. And to reach the refugee camp in West Berlin, we just followed like ants in an ant colony, ant trail. I was forced to stay in a refugee camp for 4 months. After 4 months, I went to live with my aunt so I could continue school. My father lost his job because he had given me permission to leave. My parents could finally visit me in the US after the Helsinki Agreements in 1975. Let's come back to today, to April 5th, 2025. To the signs and symbol, I can vividly see that are reminiscent to a totalitarian regime. We cannot no longer say that this might happen someday. Friends, it's happening right now. If every American does not exercise our freedom of speech while we still have it, we will lose our freedom to a totalitarian regime from which we may never return. No. Let's look at just 5 of hundreds of snapshots today, such as 1. Students being arrested for protesting and exercising their freedom of speech. 2, immigrants being captured on the streets, some sent to foreign prison when complete identification and protocols were never followed. 3, our competent, long-tenured chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Brown, was ousted. 4, scientists and other mission-critical professionals losing their job to loyalists who have not only no experience in their assigned position, but zero in navigating the federal and global landscape. 5, and one very unconstitutional thing, we must stop the SAFE Act where 69 million married women may lose their right to vote, as it will become head of household only, which is their mind, no females. Remember, women, we got the right to have a credit card, bank account, and mortgage without a man's signature in 1974, only 51 years ago. We need to wake up and not be the United States of amnesia. History is repeating itself. I love you, I love our democracy, and Frederick, hands off our Constitution. Hands off free speech. Hands off our judicial system. of LGBTQ minorities and women's rights. If you want to join us at the League of Women Voters, here is the table. We need members to help to fight for our voting rights.